The protagonist begins by saying it was a boring life. He was born into a regular family and lived regular days. Most days were dull, and he believed he would die without anything special ever happening. However, that wasn't the case. One of the protagonist's eyes glows as he says everything changed. On the screen is a blonde character, and he says he found a game called Heroes of Destiny, and that's how he became the owner of the world. However, now back in his apartment, he's really happy because he's finally alone. It's not that he likes or dislikes school. He turns on his PC and says it's just that when he's playing that alone is enough to make him happy. In this place, he's the protagonist. He always preferred single-player games because you can play countless routes countless times. You can even use some hacks and surpass all the system's limits. It was like the entire world there existed solely for one player. However, with a sheepish expression, he says that's what he thought, but now it's time to start over. He turns on the live stream and someone asks if he's really streaming in the middle of the week. The whole chat starts mocking the guy, asking if he's some kind of bum who doesn't go to school and just stays on the PC, until someone named AGJ sends a donation of 10. Even though it wasn't much, he was happy since something is better than nothing. Then someone named DEA sends 1,000. Now he's confused. He grabs the monitor and everyone in the chat wants to know who this crazy person is. They're saying they're sure this guy will ask for a refund, but the person just asks him to check his email. When he opens the inbox, it's a message from the game's creator. He says he's a viewer who always watches the channel and is also a developer. He made a game some time ago that was so hard that nobody managed to finish it during the closed beta, and he wanted a guy to play this game to check its difficulty and approve whether he liked it or not. The protagonist got intrigued by this claim that no one could finish it, and what if he managed to complete it? Even a regular guy like him could become someone special. A window on the PC asks if he wants to install the game, and he immediately says yes. With that, a game called Heroes of Destiny begins. The message says the kingdom of Roke was destroyed by the kingdom of Japal in 294. He would be born as an insignificant soul in this place and become a hero to stop the resurrection of the demon king. And when he ascended to the god's throne, he'd be granted any wish he desired. Over an ocean, he says the graphics are much worse than he imagined. But considering it's a game developed by a single person, this is the limit of what can be done. He then writes his name, which would be master of the game. And with that, a welcome message to the continent of Ellen appears. He then finds himself lost in the middle of a forest. The game seemed pretty ordinary and weird because it didn't even have a tutorial, but he was fine with that. That's when he noticed something ahead. It was the village chief who says he's not a familiar face and asks what he wants there. However, the protagonist found it strange because there was no dialogue box. Seeing there was a box to type in, he wondered if the NPC could really understand what he was saying. He then tells the old man to hand over all the money or he'll kill everyone in the village. He waits anxiously to see how the man will respond, only for the old man to whack him on the head, asking what nonsense the boy is spouting. With that, his character falls to the ground and obviously, he dies. He was confused, trying to figure out if he could really talk to the characters. The game asks if he wants to try again, and he says of course he won't give up like that. This time, the old man asks the same question. But now he says he's in need of food and drink and asks for help. The old man, feeling sorry for him, leads him to the village and tells him to follow. He then enters the man's house, who gives him a mug, telling him to drink it to calm down first. The protagonist thanks him and drinks it, only to be poisoned and die in the chair. He then gets an idea and unplugs the internet cable from his PC. Without the internet, there'd be no way for the game's creator to control these NPCs. However, when he goes to talk to the old man, everything is bugged and strange. And in the next second, a message appears saying he was killed for speaking nonsense. At that moment, he realizes that disconnecting the internet isn't the secret to winning this. He then remembers that the name of the person who developed this game was DEA, but he has no idea if this is really a person or the name of the team behind it. It was already 1:30 a.m. and he decided to save since that was enough for one day. However, he was impressed that there was a game where you could talk to NPCs. It was almost like this world of heroes really existed. Now it made sense why no one managed to beat it during the beta test. He opens his eyes before going to sleep, thinking that he was really getting excited. From that day on, driven by the